Artificial intelligence that respects fundamental laws and values and that is safe for citizens. This was the European Union's goal when it passed the AI Act, a law that will apply to companies developing this technology. To help implement this legislation from next year, the EU created a voluntary code of conduct, but some companies say that will slow down innovation. Regulating one of the most revolutionary tools for humanity is the theme of this EU Decoded.
The AI Act came into force in 2024 and defines 4 risk levels for the use of artificial intelligence, from minimal to unacceptable. It prohibits practices that violate democratic values and human rights. One example is categorizing individuals by their biometric data, which could lead to unfairly profiling minority groups. The EU now invites AI companies such as the generative chatbots ChatGPT, Mistral, Gemini and Claude to sign a voluntary code of practice on general-purpose AI. By signing the code and adhering to the rules, they're deemed compliant with the AI Act.
Companies that refuse to sign the code may face more stringent inspections and administrative burdens. Let's hear what Europeans think about this regulatory move.
I feel like if we leave these programs unregulated, they will also they will make harm as much as good as they do.
It has to be like a global thing. So then it's the same rules in China and the same rules in Italy here, but also the same rule in America.
Parzialmente, perché si è visto che si riesce a ricreare voce, visi, volti, video. Quello andrebbe regolamentato, andrebbero imposte norme più stringenti.
So che determinate cose non potranno mai essere cambiate o sostituite dall'intelligenza artificiale, quindi. Ma già ci sono e sicuramente la comunità europea interverrà ancora meglio, quindi sì, sono tranquilla.
Let's break it down with Cynthia Krute, Senior Tech Policy Reporter at Euronews. When it comes to the code, the European Commission is taking somehow a pedagogical approach to this sector. But what will happen to AI companies if they will violate the AI Act once it's fully implemented?
Yeah, I think it's important to know that the AI Act is being implemented in a period of time, so from 2024 to 2027. And this August, the rules for general purpose AI models, such as ChatGPT or Gemini, they will enter into force. So that means that the products that were already on the market, such as those examples, they have 2 more years to comply with the rules. And everything that's been put on the market after August, they have to comply immediately. And in case there are breaches, the Commission can impose a fine of up to 15 million euros.
Major players like OpenAI and Anthropic support the code, decided that they wanted to sign it, but others are refusing, like Meta, which is also an important company. What are the arguments being used and what is the implication of such a refusal in terms of the global market?
Yeah, Meta has been, I think, since the drafting process of the code started last September, very critical of this whole process. They say it stifles innovation, and they've rolled out a few tools that they cannot fully use in Europe, also because of data protection rules, for example. But in the end, it doesn't matter much if they sign or not, because the AI Act will prevail anyway.
Some analysts claim that this regulation is basically a strategic positioning of the EU that wants to be perceived as the most trustworthy AI provider. The USA is highly critical of this approach. So what can come out of these conflicting positions?
Well, it's not only Europe, I think, that's regulating. China and the US are doing the same. I think they just take a more sectoral approach instead of more horizontal that the EU is doing. I think the big difference is really investment in the end. It's mostly China and the US that have a lot of private investment. Europe is trying to catch up and they try to mobilize private and public funding, for example, for gigafactories where they train these AI models.
This code establishes rules on 3 main aspects: copyright, solutions to respect the intellectual property of creative works such as images and academic essays, safety, standards for avoiding systematic risks of advanced AI models, one example would be development of chemical or biological weapons, and transparency, requiring companies to complete a form on how they comply with the AI law.
Our guest is Laura Lázaro Cabrera, a counsel at the Center for Democracy and Technology. Denmark, which currently holds the presidency of the EU, wants to simplify the AI Act and another digital rules. Could this legislation become an empty promise?
The AI Act is already the result of several years of protracted negotiations and hard-fought compromises. Every sentence in the AI Act, every word is in there for a reason. So to say that simply a lot of the AI Act can be done away with or can be removed, some sections amended, would be a mistake.
The United States leads the private investment in AI, which is more than 10 times the EU's investment. Beyond regulation, do you think that the EU is financially committed to providing safer models of AI?
The EU has made great strides towards strengthening the financial support that it provides to AI development in Europe. Just this year, over 200 billion euros have been announced for AI investment. We think that finances are an important part of the equation, and indeed it is important for the EU to maintain a leadership role in the development of AI, but we think that that leadership has to be tied to a strong safety framework that promotes fundamental rights and that promotes people-centered AI systems.
Deepfakes, theft of confidential data, suicides linked to the use of chatbots are some examples of the risks, the dangers of generative AI. So in addition to regulating companies, should governments also provide awareness to citizens, training about how to use these tools?
Absolutely. One key element of the AI Act is this notion of AI literacy, but the obligations around AI literacy are aimed at companies developing AI and companies deploying AI. We need to see similar approaches building at EU-wide level, targeted this time at people.
Just as the industrial revolutions driven by steam power and the internet impacted different sectors, so too will AI affect many areas, from defense to life science to energy and manufacturing. However, as with those revolutions, there are risks to consumers, the environment and the rule of law. Can the legislation keep up with this lightning-fast innovation?